Hello, I'm Dr. Nancy Seniors. Struggling to sleep all night? Drink this bedtime remedy instead of water. Have you ever found yourself lying in bed at 2 or 3 in the morning, staring up at the ceiling, wondering why you're wide awake when all you want to do is drift off into peaceful sleep? Maybe you've tried counting sheep, flipping your pillow over to the cool side, or even getting up to sip a little water. But no matter what you do, it feels like your mind just won't settle down. If that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. I've had so many conversations with seniors who say the exact same thing. Falling asleep isn't always the problem. It's staying asleep through the night that becomes the real challenge after a certain age. You might notice that as the years go by, your sleep gets lighter, and waking up a few times in the middle of the night starts to feel like the new normal. And while a lot of people brush that off as just part of getting older, the truth is, there are real practical steps you can take to help yourself get back to deeper, more restful sleep. It doesn't have to be a frustrating guessing game. That's why I wanted to sit down and have this chat with you today. We're going to talk about a gentle, natural bedtime remedy you can drink instead of plain water. Something that helps calm your body, quiet your mind, and encourage that steady, all-night rest you deserve. We'll also cover a few common habits that may be sabotaging your sleep without you even realizing it. So if you're ready, grab yourself a comfortable seat, maybe even a warm cup of tea, and let's dive right in together. Now, before we get into the remedy itself, let's take a moment to really think about why this topic matters so much. Good sleep isn't just about feeling rested the next day. It's directly tied to your heart health, your memory, your mood, and even how steady you feel when you're walking around. I once spoke with a gentleman named Albert, 74 years old, who kept feeling dizzy during the day. After looking into his habits, we realized he was only getting about 4 or 5 hours of broken sleep each night. Once he focused on improving his nighttime routine, including changing what he drank before bed, those dizzy spells started to fade away. You see, the body repairs itself while you sleep. Your heart rate slows, your brain sorts through memories, and your muscles relax. When sleep is cut short, all those important processes get interrupted. That's why waking up several times a night can leave you feeling groggy, stiff, or even more forgetful than usual. And here's where it gets interesting. Many seniors develop the habit of sipping on plain water right before bed, thinking it helps keep them hydrated. But for a lot of folks, that simple glass of water can actually lead to disrupted sleep because it makes them need to get up and use the bathroom multiple times a night. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, "I was sleeping fine until I had to get up at 3 a.m. for the bathroom." That's exactly why switching to a different kind of bedtime drink can make all the difference. Something that soothes your system and encourages deep sleep without overloading your bladder. And one of the best options for this is a warm, caffeine-free herbal drink that has calming properties. Things like chamomile, valerian root, or even a gentle golden milk made with turmeric and almond milk. Let me tell you a little story about Marjorie, who's 69. She used to swear by her nightly glass of ice water right before bed. But she found herself waking up not once, but 2 or 3 times each night, which left her feeling tired the next morning. After we talked, she switched to drinking a small cup of warm chamomile tea instead. Within a couple of weeks, she noticed she was sleeping more soundly and only waking up once, if at all. Her energy levels improved, and she said she felt sharper throughout the day. Now, chamomile tea is one of my favorite natural sleep remedies for seniors because it's gentle and effective. Chamomile has compounds that interact with certain receptors in your brain to promote relaxation without causing drowsiness that feels heavy or artificial. Plus, it's naturally caffeine-free, so it won't spike your heart rate or keep you wired like some drinks might. Another good option is what's known as golden milk. It's a simple mixture of warm, unsweetened almond milk, a pinch of turmeric, a dash of cinnamon, and just a little honey if you like. Not only is it soothing and cozy, perfect for winding down in the evening, but turmeric also has anti-inflammatory properties that can help reduce joint stiffness and aches that sometimes make it harder to get comfortable in bed. Until almost midnight. The shows weren't scary, nothing too intense, but that bright screen was signaling her brain to stay alert instead of winding down for rest. Once she tried turning off her devices about an hour before bed and switching to a softer habit, like reading a book with a small lamp, she felt the difference. She said it was like her body finally understood when it was time to sleep again. The key thing to remember is portion size. You don't want to drink a big mug full that fills your bladder too much. Just a small cup, around 4 to 6 ounces, is usually enough to get the calming benefits without waking you up later on. Now that we've touched on the idea of switching out water for a calming bedtime drink, I want to talk about one more thing that really makes a difference. How soon before bed you have your last sip. Timing matters. Drinking anything, even a calming tea, right before you turn out the lights can still trigger that midnight bathroom trip. I usually suggest having your last drink about 30 to 60 minutes before you actually get into bed. That way, your body has time to settle and process it before you fall asleep. This might seem like a small adjustment, but it's one that can really change your nights. One of my patients, Samuel, age 71, shared with me that moving his tea time just half an hour earlier helped him cut down on nighttime awakenings almost immediately. Little tweaks like that can add up to a big difference in how rested and refreshed you feel every morning. Now that we've explored the idea of what to drink and when to drink it, there are still a couple more key habits that can quietly affect how deeply and how long you sleep each night. Now that we've explored what you can drink and when to drink it, let's keep the conversation flowing into some of the other subtle habits that might be affecting your sleep without you even noticing. Because as much as a calming bedtime drink can help, it's just one piece of the puzzle. One thing I see quite often with seniors is the habit of watching TV or scrolling on their phone right up until the moment they close their eyes. Maybe it feels relaxing to catch up on the news or play a quick game before bed. But here's where things get tricky. Those bright screens, whether it's from a television, tablet, or smartphone, emit a kind of light called blue light. And blue light can quietly confuse your brain into thinking it's still daytime, even if it's already dark outside. I once worked with a woman named Deborah. She was 68, sharp as ever, but she kept telling me how difficult it was to fall asleep and stay asleep through the night. We went over her routine, and it turned out she loved watching her favorite mystery shows. If this sounds familiar to you, I encourage you to try something similar. Dim the lights, put away devices about 45 minutes to an hour before bed, and choose something gentle instead. Maybe a bit of quiet music, a calming puzzle, or listening to an audiobook. That small change can really help your brain shift into sleep mode more smoothly. Now let's touch on another habit that can trip folks up: having heavy or rich meals too close to bedtime. I completely understand the appeal of a cozy evening dinner with something hearty like pasta or a rich stew. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying a satisfying meal. But if you eat something heavy too late in the evening, your body stays busy trying to digest it long after you've climbed into bed. For many seniors, slower digestion is just part of the natural aging process. Our systems take a little longer to process big meals, especially ones that are high in fat or spice. And if your stomach is still working overtime while you're trying to sleep, it can lead to discomfort, bloating, and even acid reflux that wakes you up in the middle of the night. I had a patient named Roy who was 75. He loved his late-night bowl of chili while watching baseball games. But after months of tossing and turning, he realized that his sleep improved dramatically when he shifted that heavier meal earlier in the evening and kept his nighttime snack light, like a piece of toast or a banana instead. So if dinner tends to be your largest meal, consider moving it a little earlier. Give your body a couple of hours to process everything before bed. And if you feel a little hungry before sleeping, keep it simple with a light, easily digestible snack. Things like a small piece of fruit, a few almonds, or a spoonful of yogurt work well without weighing your system down. Let's not forget about one more subtle factor: room temperature. It might sound almost too basic to mention, but I can't tell you how often seniors struggle with sleep simply because their bedroom is too warm or too chilly. As we get older, our bodies don't regulate temperature quite as efficiently. What felt cozy a few years ago might now make you wake up sweating or shivering. Take my patient Helen. She was 70 and loved sleeping with extra blankets piled on. But she kept waking up overheated in the middle of the night, kicking the blankets off, then pulling them back on again. Once she adjusted her bedding to lighter layers and kept her bedroom around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, she said her sleep felt deeper and more comfortable almost overnight. If you're wondering what's best for you, a cool, quiet, dark room is generally ideal. Light layers of blankets instead of one heavy one give you more flexibility. And using a fan or opening a window a little can help keep air moving, making the room feel fresher and easier to rest in. Now that we've talked about screen time, meal timing, and room temperature, I want to circle back to something I mentioned earlier. All these little adjustments, from switching your bedtime drink to turning off the TV a bit earlier, aren't meant to overwhelm or complicate your routine. They're here to help you gently create an environment and a rhythm that invites restful, steady sleep back into your life. Because sleep really is one of the pillars of feeling healthy, especially after 60. It affects how steady you feel when you stand up in the morning, how sharp your memory is, how balanced your mood feels throughout the day. I've had so many conversations with folks who thought forgetfulness or fatigue was just part of getting older, only to discover that with better sleep, they felt like themselves again. Clearer, steadier, and more in control. Now, before we finish up, there's still one more key idea I'd like to share. It brings everything we've talked about together in a way that feels simple, calming, and easy to practice. Because while calming drinks, turning off screens, and adjusting meal times all play their part, there's one more habit that ties it all together, and that's creating a personal evening routine you can truly look forward to. Something simple, something calming, but most importantly, something that feels good to you. For so many seniors I've spoken with over the years, sleep struggles aren't just about what's happening physically, they're about what's happening mentally too. If your mind is still busy thinking about tomorrow's appointments, replaying past conversations, or worrying about little things, even the most comfortable bed won't feel restful. That's where having a consistent, familiar evening routine becomes so powerful. It helps signal to your body and your brain that it's time to let go of the day and ease into rest. I remember one couple, Henry and Louise, both in their early 70s. They used to go to bed at all different times depending on what was on TV or what errands they'd had that day. Their sleep patterns were all over the place. When we worked together, one of the first things we did was set a steady wind-down routine. A cup of warm chamomile tea an hour before bed, turning off electronics 45 minutes before lights out, dimming the lamps, maybe listening to some soft music. Within a few weeks, both of them were sleeping more deeply and waking up feeling noticeably more refreshed. You don't need anything fancy to create your own evening routine. It might be as simple as pouring that warm tea or golden milk into your favorite cup. Maybe reading a few pages of a book with a soft lamp nearby, brushing your teeth and washing your face with gentle, calming motions, or sitting quietly in a favorite chair, listening to music or doing light stretches. The key is repeating the same actions around the same time each evening. That steady rhythm teaches your body that bedtime is coming, and it helps your mind start to slow down too. It's also worth mentioning how important your sleep space itself is. Your bedroom should feel like a quiet, relaxing place, not just another busy room in the house. Things like blackout curtains to block out street lights, a comfortable pillow that supports your neck, and calming colors on the walls can all contribute to a more peaceful environment. I had one patient, Claire, who was 76. She realized her room was too cluttered and filled with reminders of things she needed to do. Once she cleared off the extra papers and set up a softer, simpler space, her sleep quality noticeably improved. Now, I want to gently remind you, all these things we've talked about today, whether it's switching from plain water to a calming tea, turning off your phone earlier, adjusting your dinner time, or building a relaxing bedtime routine, they don't have to happen all at once. It's okay to start with just one small change and build from there. What matters most is consistency and kindness to yourself along the way. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is steady improvement. If you sleep a little better tonight than you did last night, that's a win worth celebrating. And if there's a rough night here or there, that's normal too. What counts is coming back to these healthy habits again and again. Before we wrap up, I'd really love to hear from you. What's one thing from today's conversation that feels helpful or interesting to you? Have you tried a calming bedtime drink like chamomile tea or golden milk before? Or maybe you have your own favorite nighttime routine that helps you wind down? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I always enjoy reading your stories and hearing how these little changes make a difference for you. If you found this video helpful or comforting, please take a moment to click the like button. It helps more people in our community discover these kinds of honest, gentle health tips. And if you're not already part of this channel, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on future conversations like this one. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. It truly means a lot to know we can sit down together like this and talk about ways to make life after 60 feel more steady, restful, and joyful. Remember, it's never too late to make changes that help you feel stronger, clearer, and more at peace, whether that's through better sleep, more mindful routines, or simply listening to your body with a little more care. Here's to living your best life at any age. Wishing you deep sleep, sweet dreams, and a peaceful night ahead. Take good care, and I'll see you again very soon.